to go. Does anyone want to check the YouTube to make sure that it's still working? I can check real quick. Get a chance to let people filter in here.
What's with the do-rag?
This is my... I'll get into it. All right. I dress up just for you, Phelan. You'll see in just a second here. Okay. All right. Well, let's just get started. Welcome to my weekly meltdown. I am Bill Methling, filling in for the wonderful Allison this evening. She handed me the reins because she couldn't make it this evening. And so, I figured I might as well jump in. And I couldn't be happier to be with two of my favorite ladies in the Sequester community. We have, as always, the wonderful... Oh, thank you. Thank you. As always, the wonderful Deb, former OG Sequester player, the infamous or famous first boot of the entire series of Sequester. Deb, how are you doing tonight?
I am fabulous, and I am ready to do a tribute to our lovely Dina.
Oh my gosh. Well, if you can't see her, get ready. Deb, this is going to be amazing. But just hold off 1 second. We have one more introduction to do, and then you can take over the show. You may recognize her from her previous stints on My Weekly Meltdown. She is a noted author, political voice, OG Sequester player, and my former nemesis on 11.0. The lovely Phelan Fairchild. How are you, Phelan?
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here with you guys. I'm excited. I've got my wig on tight and I'm ready to roll, bitch. Get this thing going. Put it in gear.
Yes, we have a lot to say, but before we do, Deb, I don't know if I'm just going to hand things over to you here in tribute to our fallen soldier.
Our fallen soldier, Dina, who was willing to pop a tit to win the game. We salute you. And in honor of you, I'm going to pop my tits. We love you, Dina.
I think that went way better than I even imagined it.
Is it wrong that I actually thought you were going to get them out and I was looking forward to it? Like, I didn't expect that. So.
Oh, you expected me to pull my tits out?
YouTube would never let us run the ship again. Oh my gosh.
I come from nightlife, so nothing is unexpected. I expect the worst. So I was ready, girl.
We do not. I don't know if we have so that's a nice little tribute there for Dina, who I know from My Weekly Meltdown, have often been singing her praises as one of our favorite characters and players in these first few episodes. Anything either Phelan or Deb you want to say about Dina?
Dina, rest in peace, bitch. I'm telling you what, she looks like she'd be comfortable in a coffin. She dresses for the part. I'm all looking forward to seeing what she does in like the rest of the game, because I don't think this is going to be the last we're going to see of her. Hopefully we're going to get to see some of the jury house. I think that's when she's really going to come to life, is in the jury house, when she can just be herself and relax and not have to feel like she's got the pressure on her. But I mean, I love Dina. I had a soft spot for her from the very, very start. She was very timid. She was very kind of, more than willing to be in the backseat. She was a complete contradiction to the persona, which goes to show you that makeup and that hair and those lashes, bitch, it's an exterior that some people put on, right? It's a hardened exterior to scare people away. Didn't work. I felt bad for Braden, because like literally I expected, when I found out what the challenge was going to be, that Dina was going to put on a couple of bull horns and just charge the fuck ahead. Because if any bitch in that house could have done it, it would have been her, right? She could have just charged straight on and knocked bitches out of the way and used one knocker one way, one knocker the left way. I was like, come on, girl, let's see what you can do. This is your competition. If anybody's going to do this, it's you against a little twig and twag back there. So literally when she was like, I lost my shoe. I lost my shoe. I was like, bitch, what are they? Gucci high heels. This is, who the fuck cares if you lost your shoe? Go, girl. Start hoofing it forward. I had Phelan for Braden alone. I was devastated because it was literally like somebody who was a real champion in my eyes and could have taken this to the end, being had a millstone put around his neck. No offense to Dina, but gutted for him. But that's the way it rolls.
But in Dina's defense, I don't know. There, you have absolutely no traction with no shoes on in grass. And she couldn't get traction long enough to get her shoe back on. And if she would have tried to get up enough to put a shoe back on, they would have pulled her down. So,
yeah, well, they were pulling from the start anyway. But for as much time as the bitch spent talking about having lost her shoe, Cinderella, you could have put that bitch back on. You know what I'm saying? You could have put it back on, like slide the bitch on. That's all you had to do. I really felt like that she was defeated immediately. She literally, she set out like she was going to gung ho. She was going to charge her way through that. She was going to be the beast that I know she could probably be under different circumstances. And her shoe came off and she was like, pfft. Oh, well. All right, my shoe.
Hey, this is tough because this really turned into I feel like an endurance competition where Dina and Brayden seemingly had the original edge. If you saw the way Christine snapped back as like a rag doll in that competition, I said, okay, there's a chance. Now Dina's just got to get down. Brayden, you saw Brayden get down right away. Get your body low and hold. And then you just have to start to try pulling. And we don't know how long this actually took. We don't have that information. Maybe one of the players can, post it in the chat. But I mean, give Dina her due. She came in here saying she's the most unathletic person. She is the weakest when it's going to come to physical competitions. But she did not give up. And yes, many props to Brayden, who was being such a generous, kind partner in that challenge. He could have just been yelling at her, but he really took a positive spin on it and was coaching her through it and pushing her forward. And really, it could have gone the other way with another type of player. Imagine Drew or Kevin attached to Dina. It would have come off a lot differently. So props to Brayden for being a great sportsman in this situation.
And then he offered money.
Because he knew I'm fucked. He knew. Listen, I will tell you what, he was a complete gentleman, right? He was completely, nothing but kind and courteous to Dina, considering the circumstances. I think because he recognized that she's just a nice person, and nobody wants to fuck with a nice person, right? That's where you kind of have to take your feelings out of it and set it aside. But I promise you that under his breath, he was like, God damn it, I didn't come all the way from Canada for this shit. Like I really didn't want to lose tied to somebody else. So I kind of felt really, really bad for him. I don't think that it was his time. I didn't feel like he deserved. It was a shitty way to go, a really shitty way to go. But I really felt like they had it in the beginning. They got me all up and then just to drop me on my ass. When I saw that little one girl, that one girl with the pigtail and the pig. What was her name? What's the girl's name? I don't know. All these white girls look the same to me. What's her? Yeah, that one. Christine. When she went flying like a rubber band bitch, I expected her to fly straight off the field. That's what I would have used. I would have used all my power had I been Dina. It's just, it's unfortunate. I really expect to see more from her in the house, though. I think she's going to be exciting to watch. I think it's, again, the show's not over. It's not. I think we could see maybe Brayden come back.
You have no idea what the battle back's going to be.
That's right.
And I'm going to take off this real quick. This is my Drew. I wore a backwards hat because Phelan hates people that wear backwards hats, and I have to get under Phelan's skin as much as possible. So I wore the backwards hat. I was trying to. This is my best Drew impression. Here, we can try that out. So is this not Drew? This is Drew. Am I not Drew? I'm fucking Drew. So if we talk about Drew later, EOE baby, everybody loves everybody.
In his dreams. I would tell you what, you got to go 6 inches at least to get under my skin, girl. I wear so much makeup. But I will tell you right now, Drew and Kevin. I love Kevin. I'm sorry. People are going to hate me for this. I fucking love to watch him. I could watch him all day long. I have fun watching him. He's everything in real life that I loathe and abominate in terms of, reality. He is golden on television. He's also delusional, which I kind of get along really well with, right? I kind of get along well with that. I understand delusional. When he was like, oh, I'm not going anywhere, I'm completely confident. I was like, girl. No. Yeah. And then I thought, Drew, on the other hand, he looked scared to death. And I have to give credits to the douchebag. All respect due to him. He's smart enough to know when to be scared.
Oh, yeah.
Smart enough to do that. That gives him one step up on Kevin for me. One step up. So I actually am sad to see Kevin go. If I'm honest, I mean, I could run with the whole I dislike him and I don't. That's just a lie. I actually really enjoyed watching him. I think him and Kim were so perfect this season, and they were iconic in every sense of the word, really, really lifting up this entire season. Yep. And we're only 4 episodes in. Yep. So now I'm waiting to see which bitch is going to step forward and become like the new central figure. Gutted over Tori.
And now
I'm probably I could go on and on, but you go, Bill.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and now we're about to see, I think, everything that Brayden wanted to happen, except with the one catch that he's not there anymore. It's gonna be the big guns going after the big guns. Not only that, it's gonna be the battle of the sexes, and that's what this game has become. And Brayden and Kristen and Dina and Hunter and Ty, we're gonna skate through the middle and watch them do that now. But Brayden can't be a part of it. But he set this game up for one of those people to go very far. So props to Brayden. It's just unfortunate that you're not there. We have it's now going to be the Drew and Kevin versus Tori and Cam thing with Kevin gone. So who knows what's going to happen? I'm excited to see, and watch for Erika too. This has been very interesting to see how she's kind of falling towards the guy side of things, and now Kristen's setting herself to be completely meat shielded by these people as well. I'm very excited.
Do you blame Erika for falling on the guy side? I think she definitely feel in her heart that the girls are snaking her, and they are.
Yeah, she
that
figured,
one brown-haired bitch. Oh my God, who's the brown-haired bitch? What's her name?
Cameron.
I'm going to tell you right now, I would have had to snatch her weave, because I'll tell you, Cameron is a little snake. How dare you hug a bitch to her face? This is one thing. I am many things, bitch. I am many things under this wig, but I am not fake, and I will not lie to you. And I suppose that goes a whole against the ethos of Sequester, which I didn't learn the first time around. But I will tell you right now, she will hug a bitch to her face, that Cameron, and be like, it's okay, it's all right, it's all right. And then she is in her confessional. She is the shade queen. Let me tell you, Cameron. Cameron is the shade queen. So that kind of makes me love her too. I actually have, I've been hard pressed, unlike other seasons where I just hated everybody, to find somebody that I genuinely dislike for the sake of disliking. This is like the quintessential epic season, and every one of these cast members deserves their place. Like they have fought tooth and nail to be there, and they are not coasting. There's nobody really coasting. Even Zach, who I had kind of just dismissed early on, is starting to really step it up. He's starting to come to life. We're seeing other players. Little Kristen, I think that's her name, the little girl with the little chip. She looked like a chipmunk. Okay, I love her dearly. But I will tell you what, that bitch walked into a room, said to that one girl, they're all one girl to me. I'm sorry. Until they step forward and I don't know.
They're all the Debbies.
They're all the Debbies, right? Until I know that. But like that one girl's like, she's like, can I join? And the one girl's like, no, can you just? That's when I would have got pissed. That's when the bitter bitch in me would have been like, you know what, girl? I would have gone so maleficent on that hoe that I would have been angling to get her out next, right? So she's up now. So I hope Kristen is sitting there very satisfied with herself. Very satisfied, because that I don't trust a bitch who don't want to talk to me. And this happened to me when I played one of the minis with Cammie. That bitch is shady as fuck. If ever you play with her, she will sit there and you will know exactly what she's thinking. She ain't got to say a word. She give it all away in her little mug. She sits there and she's like, oh, she has nothing to say. If she leaves a room when you come into it, you know what that bitch is doing. And that's that one girl for me. I'm sorry. Now I do know this girl, Jessica, because she's a little stringy hair blonde girl who looked like she got some bad tracks. I was like, yes, okay, I can get along with her. I enjoy her. I enjoy Jessica, but she just stepped up into the game for me. I didn't know who she was for the first 3 episodes. But let me tell you what, she turned the whole house around tonight. Girl waved her wand. Harry Potter and the audacity of this bitch. I was like, yes, she knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing. She has sat quietly and observed in the background, which is what Brayden was doing before. So don't be surprised if little Jessica, kind of like that bobblehead Mary Poppins who's already in the jury house, takes on that role that we expected her to do and instead does it herself, because I'm really going to love Jessica. After tonight, she's going to be a shining star.
Well, and we've had hints of Jessica making these big moves. She's the one that essentially, revealed all the information about Jay West's LOS and then got Kevin to go after Jay West. That was the reason. It was Jessica. So now we're seeing another moment where Jessica is having her voice heard and gathering troops. So watch out.
Exactly.
She's a force to be reckoned with.
So let's bleed into this this kingdom twist here. Let's just take a quick shot at it. So this isn't a game that I've had the pleasure of playing, but it is a hot mess of a game, and it's been seen on Sequester Black Hat, episode 5, and then also back in the very first episode of the online All-Stars. So we've seen this a couple times, especially if you go way back with the online seasons, and it always turns out to be a mess. Usually a big player is voted out at the end. We lost Kate last season, or a Black Hat season. Then we lost Donovan, the very first winner of Sequester, went out first in All-Stars due to this twist. And now we see Kevin go. So this is a legend killer. This is a game that is meant to really turn the house, flip the kingdom, and where the peasants become the ones that are in charge. Were you able to follow the twist? Did you read up on it beforehand? Any thoughts going into the... Yeah, okay. So how did you think it was played out?
I actually understood it as it was being played out. So I understood what was going on. You know, you had the two people in the kingdom. You had Cameron and Tori up in the kingdom. Then you had Jayla, Erika, and Christine as the knights. And so Cameron and Tori had to decide who they wanted to put up for elimination. And then Jayla, Erika, and Christine had to go down to the peasants and try to convince them that that's the right thing to do. And then they have to decide how the peasants are going to vote. You know, are they going to vote yes? Or are they going to vote no? And if they can determine whether or not they're, the way they're going to vote, then the kingdom wins.
Yeah, and I feel like usually it's the knights that screw this up, but I think Cameron and Tori dug their own grave today. I think it was the kingdom that really ruined their shots here, targeting those first two big guys right away.
Do you think that they should have targeted a third big guy instead of going for a girl?
Yep, I think 100%. Throwing Jessica into the mix forces a lot of people to potentially not put it on Jessica, and then knowing that the big guys are going to put up Cameron and Tori, it was a big mistake. It was a big mistake.
Yeah,
do you know what?
The knights made a mistake in their vote.
I'm not
also true.
I sparkle, but I'm not the brightest light bulb in the chandelier, bitch. And I thought that I was going to be totally lost through the entire duration of this episode. Like, I thought this is going to be way too much for me, because I'm not, attention wise and being.
I'm right there with you, girl.
Can I just say that it was done so meticulously that I understood everything, and that's to give some credibility to the editors and to the people behind this, because if you can get through to me and I knew exactly what was going on in order to want a result that I wanted, and I was able to be on board instead of just like being in a white raft in this bitch, just going wherever I was tossed. I was completely invested, and I agree with you, Bill. I think that they made a huge mistake going after Jessica in order to throw off the scent that they're going after the guys' alliance. I love how they were like, "There's no guys' alliance." They've been saying that every episode, and then in the centerpiece of this entire episode, they're like, "Well, let's separate." All of a sudden, you've got all the guys packed as one room, like it's a goddamn feeding frenzy, right? And they're all talking to each other, and I don't know, like everybody else is just sort of drifting. Girl, let me tell you right now, there is a guys' alliance. Whether they realize it or not, they have drawn to each other, and they're like moths to a flame. It's just like we've all got testosterone. We have to be in the same room. I just disagree with that. It's so primitive, right? And it's just a gross gameplay aspect. But I will say, I thought that Tori and Cameron, right? It stuck with me, Bill. Congratulations.
Yep, Tori and Cameron. Yeah, you got it.
Thank you. I did it. They were, I thought they did really well up until Jessica. I was like, yes, you guys are on the right. This is the problem with how this has played out so far. They were really getting, like, why was Dina and Braden up there? why was these people that they targeted really were not like Mary Poppins? She shouldn't have been gone yet. Like, you keep the weak players and you fire off the strong ones whenever you're in a position to do so. Why are you keeping the weak ones and or the strong players, the people who are going to be the biggest competition for you? Like, exactly. I'm sorry, you've been gunning for Dina since day one. That don't make no sense to me. You get the strongest players out first, and they've been messing that up. I feel like they've been on the wrong trajectory here, which is going to leave in the end a very interesting game for us viewers because it's going to be all the strongest players.
And you have to get them out in the vote. Don't worry about the battle matches. You get the big, strong players out in the vote. Let them decide who battles who. But at least as long as you're not one of those big, strong people getting voted out, you have a chance in a battle. Where the votes don't get to battle, so you see someone like Matt go out without a chance to battle, and now you see someone like Kevin going out again without a chance to get himself back in the game. That's the way to do it. If you're some of these smaller players,
exactly,
in my opinion.
But I mean, I think that they're wasting their time. And they've been doing this thing where, I mean, all right, I appreciate the fact that they've tried to get out Kevin more than once. But actually what they've done is they pegged off all the weaker players and they had kept him around until today, surely by mistake. But now I think is when it gets exciting, because to me, Tori was the alpha female of this entire tribe. She was running this show. She was running it from the inside out, even though there might have been people, kind of defecting and going rogue underneath. She was really the one pulling the strings and kind of, she had her target on multiple people in one episode. She was targeting Dina. She was targeting Jayla. She was targeting Erika. Let's not forget, right? She just did not like, what is this? What is wrong with Erika? Can I just ask, why do these big girls just not like her? That don't make any sense to me.
I don't get it.
What is not translated?
I've been asking that question since episode 1. I've been asking that question. Why do they hate Erika so much?
There's been some hints that Erika talks a lot. So we see her talking very intelligently in the confessionals. We see her talking pretty intelligently in groups of people. But I think maybe when the camera's not on, she continues to talk. And that's what it's been mentioned in a couple a couple confessionals earlier on in the season, and maybe that has something to do with it. We also noticed that Hunter from last episode, Hunter and Erika are not holding down a bed together anymore. The sleeping arrangements have switched up, where Erika was with the girls. So I don't know if Hunter tried to get away, and now these girls are trying to get away. I don't know, but something's rubbing people wrong with Erika.
It's interesting. I mean, maybe we're going to see that unfold in future episodes because number one, she's definitely playing the game and she's playing it well. So underestimate her all you want. Tori done made that mistake, right? And so is Cameron. Cameron has made this grave mistake of underestimating Erika. Do not sleep on this bitch because she's coming up from behind and I could see her as a potential dark horse.
And she just got exposed at the end of that episode, right? So Cameron calls them out saying, who Kevin's allies were, who he's talking about, Drew. But then she says, Erika.
Well, Erika's standing there crying like a baby. Of course.
I know.
She added herself.
Do you know what that means for this bitch if she comes back?
Oh, yeah. Cameron's under a lot of heat if she comes back.
Girl, when you sit up there and you don't even know if you lost yet for real or not, and you start screaming out shit and just stirring the pot, right? Your ass could come back. And then you got to be accountable for all that stuff. And these people aren't going to forget because now you've got a target on you. You've got that was a stupid move on her part for somebody that I thought was smarter than that.
Well, we see Cameron. Oh, yeah, go ahead, then.
Everybody can see Erika crying. So, I mean, if you know how to add like 2 and 2 together, I mean, doubt.
But this is the typical, and I feel Cam has been so much fun to watch, but this is Cam trying to put on good TV. She is someone, you see her in her confessional, she knows she's putting on a show for us. And that got into her head, the idea that camera's on, she's putting on a show. And so because that camera's on, she's seen Kevin make a speech before. So it's time for Cameron to make a speech. She saw Jay West make a speech. And now it's her turn. She just made it at the wrong time, especially because if you go into that pre-jury house and the battle back is something social, and maybe Kevin, maybe Drew follow behind you, maybe Erika follows behind you, that's going to really hurt your chances in a social comeback if she gets, deep in like something like the circle or who knows whatever Audrey has come up with.
Exactly. And sometimes silence is golden.
Well, she definitely blew whatever chances she had in terms of being somebody people think that they can rely on. So for secrecy, but I have to say that Kevin blowing up Zach's LOS at the last minute and ending on that note had me screaming. I was like, oh, I'm a hard person to leave speechless. Like that is a difficult task to accomplish, but that bitch took me out. I was like shook from that because they were literally, I didn't know that you were going to be up there. Like I get being bitter in that moment. Like you are going to be angry and you had every right to be. I completely give him that. But when you go up there and you have I don't know if they give you like 2 minutes to talk or say goodbye or whatever. And you use that 2 minutes to blow up people's game. Zach having an LOS was really kind of not really gravity to anything that was going on in the game. Like Zach was never a target. Zach is certainly not a threat. Zach is not somebody who it would behoove anybody else currently playing the game to get out because he's not, I mean, he's cute as hell, but he's not very athletic. Like I'm into guys with big teeth like that. I don't think that he's going to get anybody. I don't think he's like scaring anybody off. Right. But I definitely think that it sort of made people think second about who they can trust because now everybody's got to sort of take stock of what can be told about them when their back is turned.
Yep. This is becoming a theme. People saying too much. We've seen it with Thomas. Now we're seeing it with Cameron. Who was it that blew up Zach? Oh, Kevin blowing up Zach's LOS. Just all this extra information that is only going to hurt their game, especially because we saw throughout the structure of the kingdom and through those conversations, people started talking about Zach's LOS anyway. So he wasn't even providing new information into the system. And yeah, I mean, sorry, Zach, but I think everybody knew. I don't think it's going to hinder Zach. Zach seems to be someone.
It wasn't going to hurt him at all.
Yeah, Zach's fine. Everyone knows that Zach's going to be targeted floater night. So him and Ty, they're keeping them around now for that very specific night. Maybe even Kristen too, even though Kristen had a big hand in the overthrowing of Cameron and Tori today. Jessica shouldn't get all the credit. Kristen was also pushing very hard. She even had the first confessional about flipping it onto Cameron and Tori before Jess even got involved. But of course, Jess is going to be for that because her name's on the chopping block.
See, which one is Kristen?
She's the little one. She's the little one.
Kristen and Christine, right?
Yeah, Kristen and Christine. Christine was a peasant tonight. Christine was one of the knights.
Okay.
She was the one that came back with
Christine's up for battle match.
Yeah, she was the ragdoll in the battle match.
Yeah, and she's again up for the battle match against
No, she's
Tori.
not. No, Cameron is.
Cameron
God damn it.
Yeah, another C name. You notice that a lot of reality shows do this. There was one season, one of the Big Brother seasons with like James that had like 4 or 5 or 6 peoples with letters that started with a J. I feel like casting does these things on purpose just for the conversations, like mixing up who you're talking about. I feel like this is a thing in casting. I don't know.
Interesting thing, though, I would say that if casting of any other reality show, such as Big Brother, did half as well as this season of Survivor, I would never leave my house again. I'd sit there with everything on DVR. Like I'd be watching nothing but these reality shows. But, fortunately, usually the casting of Big Brother is absolute dog shit. So I don't ever watch that kind of thing. I don't give a crap about it. Sequester, on the other hand, I have to say, these people came to play, and every single one of them is fierce in their right. Can I just say that Dustin, who's sort of like he's like you said, I think he's going to be one of the people that gets targeted on floater night, right? I think he's going to be one of the ones. I adore him. Like I love his wild, his eccentric. Did you see his clothes tonight? Oh
yeah, girl. The jumper, yeah.
Like, he's just adorable.
What's going on with his clothes?
I know. It's like he fell into a rack at TJ Maxx during like their Hawaiian shirt extravaganza. I don't know what he did, but he's adorable. And I think that he's going to be somebody though that really has to step up their game and start making moves quickly in order to stay relevant to people. Otherwise, they're just going to pop him off. I think we're getting to the point where being quiet isn't your friend. That's not going to benefit you anymore to stay quiet. In fact, being quiet is going to make people think that you're just going to be an easy target. And there are people who've been reasonably balanced about that. I think Jayla is one of them that hasn't been too loud, but she's also not been too vocal, even though that, more recently she's gotten more vocal. And honestly, if I can't remember your name, you're not doing enough. But that's, could be the Percocet as well. But I'll be honest with you. I really feel, I feel like, honestly, we're seeing some really, really intense players stepping forward, but we're starting to lose them as quickly as they're coming forward. And I'll be honest, I really, really, if we can just say who we want to come back, I really, really want Tori to come back. I know she is somebody who's very polarizing. People either love her or they hate her. She is such an asset and she's such a strong player but again, if she wins this battle back, she's going to come back with a huge target on her back because she is so strong. She's a triple threat. She's smart, she's savvy, and she's very, very secretive. So you never can guess or estimate what she's doing. And that is terrifying.
Deb, who would you rather have come back, Cameron or Tori?
God.
Get off the fence, Deb.
I'm on the fence. I don't care. I don't care either one.
Oh my gosh, Deb's too worried about making friends. I think honestly that I would prefer Cameron to come back just for the blowback of her little speech and how she is not afraid to be vocal and say exactly what's on her mind. And her confessionals are amazing. Tori is, I think, a very good player and has, I think McCrae put it in his little podcast, like the it factor. Like we're going to see her somewhere else on like Survivor or something. She has that it factor. And I completely agree that this could be a big stepping stone for Tori here and getting, her face out there. But I would prefer to see the blowback with Cameron.
Yeah, definitely. I just got a question. Is it my ears or do you have reverb on your voice?
I'm into this new mic. I don't know.
No, don't worry about it. I was like, is that Bill or is that Adele at Carnegie Hall? What the fuck is going on here? I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. Very, very soft, like very right. He's like very white. It's like talking to you through these tones, and I'm like, is that Bill? What you doing? Bill has invested in a fancy new mic.
Yeah, well, things happen.
I'm living for it. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Has your opinion changed at all with regards to the players of who you see taking it to the end? There were people who really weren't registering on the radar. Kristen was not registering on the radar at first. Jessica not registering on the radar at first. But these people have since sort of climbed the tiers of notability in this game. Drew, he has dodged bullets left and right.
If Drew gets to jury, there's a good shot he goes very deep. I think Hunter, the fuse is lit, and Hunter is going to start losing his mind very soon. You've already heard him in his confessionals today saying, you know what, anyone but me, which is the mentality that you should have, but he's been being so social that's going to come back to bite him the second he makes his own decision and not a group decision. I think Erika is hiding well, along with Kristen and Jess, behind some of the meat shields. I worry for Jayla, who is going to start being realized as top dog now once Cameron and Tori are potentially eliminated. So I do worry for Jayla as a big personality. She's eventually, if she makes jury, she's going to be an early target as someone that they want to get out of the game before she gets to make a speech at the end.
I agree. I think Jayla has got a bitterness to her. So when if she does get eliminated or even dragged into a battle match, I wouldn't put it past her to start running her jaws. I think she's got a lot of that, a lot of spark to her and a hot temperament, which I think we haven't had the opportunity to really see yet. But just from my perspective, I think she's going to pop off. I mean, we've seen sort of hints at that temperament early on when she was sitting in the room with everybody. And it was during episode 2 when they were saying that, Kevin thought he was running the house. And she said, I don't know who he thinks he's running. And I think we saw some threads, maybe some foreshadowing of a little bit of temperament later on. But when you have that temperament, you got to watch what you reveal because that could blow up your game. I'm frankly going to be the problem is now we've lost Kevin and we've lost Kim. And we can't discount Kim, who it would have probably gone on to be an incredible threat in this game if they hadn't just immediately. I think everybody didn't know what to do, and she was just somebody that they're like, oh well, I really don't get on with her that much, so and I think that's why she fell at the first hurdle. But her and Kevin, I can't wait to see the dynamic of that in the house.
Oh,
because
gosh.
why was there no house footage this episode? Like I was waiting for that last
I know.
episode.
We didn't get one little clip of Brayden or Dina even entering the pre-jury to even have any bit of conversation as far as the reaction, which is a little bit of a letdown. But I hope that means that they're saving it for a big moment coming up. Explosive.
That house has got to be the most interesting.
I need to see the jury house.
I'm living. I don't even know what's going on in there, but I'm living for every single minute because I can just imagine. You remember how Kim was at Mary? I'll just call her MP because I always mess up her name. And then Jay West, and they were literally all turning. And then Matt just sitting there, kind of like taking it all in. Now, if Matt learns to sit there and be quiet and behave himself like a good little boy until it comes time for the battle back, that could play in his favor if it's a social game that determines who goes back in, because he will have ruffled no feathers.
I think we might see a whole nother Brayden mini episode of him working the house socially in this pre-jury, trying to find his way back. I think we're going to get another little Brayden mini episode. I can't wait.
We personally know Brayden, and we know that he will work it.
All of us do, yeah.
I think that, though, there could be some backlash to that, because I think people not knowing who he was going in, really having an opportunity to play with him, could either find that, enthusiasm and hold it in high regard, or they could find it snaky. They could find it, kind of that ambition way too desperate. And I think that it could start getting on people's tits, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay, guy, we get it. You're Canada's smartest person or whatever, but you're irritating the shit out of me. Like, I worry that if he plays that card too hard, that he's going to blow his chances, and it's going to come across as like thirsty. And there's a very fine line between, being determined and being absolutely thirsty.
Yes,
so I hope he doesn't play that.
Smarmy is a good word. That's the word I always use to describe Brayden. He's very smarmy.
See, pretentious. I mean, I can think of a lot of words to describe him. I mean, I think he can come across as very pretentious and very self-interested, very self-involved. And that can be off-putting to people who are trying to determine, they all want to be there. Let's face it. They all want to be there, which I thought that it took some balls to sit there and offer money to them when they thought, listen, you right now are a mule that has a ball and chain, and you're going to offer me money to give it up. You're not winning this. You're not going to. The minute the Cinderella lost her shoe, bitch, you knew that you were not going to get over this hurdle. So to offer me money, that was clearly a very desperate move. He wasn't in a position to make that call. I don't think he misjudged that. He misjudged it. If they actually had any equality, if there was any balance there, and who was going to take that after Dina literally just kind of folded her hand, then I could have seen him playing it. Then I could have seen him using a power play and negotiating. He didn't have any power.
Yeah. Generally on these types of shows, there is supposed to be zero talks of deals outside of the the limitations of the game, and so this money offering was very shocking to me. I was surprised it was in the episode. I was wondering, like, if someone had said yes, how Audrey would address it. If
I know,
so it's fortunate that no one said yes and it didn't become a part of the game, because if you had accepted $500 for a chance to stay in the game, everyone in the Sequester world will just hate you.
I would have done it.
They will hate you.
I would have done it.
You would have took it. You would have took the money. I would have taken
that shit. I would have been like, "Come on, Brayden, let's shake on a deal. My ass is gone. Goodbye." Number one, I think it was we have seen it in other shows. I mean, let's not forget, Deb, you and I covered Celebrity Big Brother in the first episode series, and in the one of the first few episodes, they were negotiating. I think it was they knew that Meta World Peace was going to take it all the way, and you had somebody offering him, hey, listen, if you drop, I'll give you this. They were hanging onto these like what were they called, punching bags. And then I think we also saw it in RuPaul's Drag Race. We saw Alaska offering to give people money if they didn't vote her off. So I think it's more common than you might realize. It depends on your position. If you are at least equal to another party and you think that you could overthrow them, that you could defeat them, to just eliminate any opportunity that they're gonna mess up or falter, just make them a deal. I think it was brilliant.
I just can't imagine what's gonna happen next. Where are we? We're a couple already a round or so away from, as Drew keeps reminding us over and over again, we're just about a round or so away from pre-jury ending and someone coming back into the game. We have this big battle between Cameron and Tori. Whoever comes back, it's going to be super interesting. If Tori comes back, I don't know what's gonna happen. She's got to find some new people, or if Cameron comes back, she's gonna be on her own.
I guess we're gonna find out next week.
We're gonna find. No, we're not. We're not gonna find out until because there's no episode next week. Because
is there not? Was that announced?
Right. Yeah. Crap. So sadly, they really are stringing us up here. We gotta wait for 2 weeks now to find out whether Tori or Cameron come back, and I'm excited about that. I mean, it's going to be interesting no matter which way the chips fall. So stay tuned. And Bill, do a thing for Let's Pick app.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, I wonder if I won again. So for Let's Pick app, I've won 2 out of the 3 weeks. I couldn't qualify myself again, but I split the money this 3rd week. So I don't know who won this week, but go on there. I mean, there's like 11 of us that are playing for the money each week. So, there's a chance you have a 10% shot if you just randomly make the right pick.
Go for it.
Yeah, definitely go for it. Let's Pick app, get on there. Also, you can win some free Sequester swag if you download it and play the free version of the game as well. There's usually about 100 or so people that are playing just, 100% for free and winning t-shirts. They keep posting it on Twitter. We are going to wrap things up here. Big thanks to Allison for letting us come on and talk about this game that we love so much. If you want to see people on social media, you can catch Deb on Twitter at MyNextLifeDebbie, and Phelan, I believe, is just at Phelan on Twitter. Is that right?
Everywhere.
Everywhere. You can find her. You can find myself
all over the place.
Yes. And you can find me on Twitter at Zooty McBooty. And one last thing that I just want to do, all of us know Braden, and Phelan and I played with Braden, and I know this is like something that was really important to him, was getting back on this show, proving that he, had the chops to play the live game, and he showed everyone that he knows what he's talking about, and he set up this house for his allies to do extremely well, even though he was the sacrificial lamb of the group. Braden put so much effort into sticking his neck out for people in the community, for supporting people, and people reciprocate. Braden is probably one of the greatest friends that I've taken out of this community. So it's like super sad to see him eliminated today, but we love you, dude. Any last words on Braden?
We love Braden.
Yeah, we love you, man.
It's not over yet. We could see him again.
Maybe we'll see you again. Yeah, Audrey says, that I always see the worst in every situation. So maybe that's true. So let's hope that Braden comes back and we can all be blessed with his crazy schemes once more. For Allison, I am Bill with Deb and Phelan signing off. My Weekly Meltdown. Love you, Sequester. We'll talk about you later. See you guys.